Welcome to a little film about maths at A-level and other post-16 choices at Hazelwick School. So in this guide we're going to show you some slides and give you some details of the various options. I will be talking for a few minutes, then I'll hand over to my colleague Mrs. Andrews, who is the Key Stage 5 coordinator at Hazelwick. So these are the options. We have A-level maths, very popular option, chosen by usually 80 students or so. A-level further maths, core maths qualification, and the resit of GCSE. So, some important questions. I won't bother reading them all because you can read them at your leisure as you watch the film. But we're going to talk through some of the answers to these questions so that it becomes a clearer choice for you and your children. So, A-level maths, the first of those options, is made up of 2/3 or 66% pure, so that's content such as algebra, trigonometry, follows on from what you've been learning in your GCSE. So there are new ideas, but they build on your old ideas. So if your GCSE went well, you'll be in a good position to do well with pure maths. 1/6 of the qualification is statistics, so including ideas from GCSE, such as distributions of data, but also building on those towards new developments. And the final 1/6 of the qualification is the study of mechanics, which is closely linked in with physics. So if you're thinking of A-level physics, mechanics would be a really good choice to go alongside that. So a few details about statistics. It's essentially analysing data, looking for patterns, looking for trends, and it links in with all sorts of jobs, such as actuarial studies. Huge part of what a lot of people do for their living. Mechanics, as I mentioned before, links with physics. It's the modelling of the world in various simplified ways, such as the motion of a ball once it's hit by a cricketer. So physics or engineering, I've mentioned already. You should definitely consider doing maths if you're going to be doing physics. Further maths is a really quite a difficult option, but a really prestigious option. If you're thinking of any qualifications beyond A-level that involve mathematical study, further maths would be a really good thing to consider. I would also recommend it for anyone who is good at maths and really enjoys the subject. But you will need to get a really good GCSE. You will need a grade 9 for that course. And what is covered? Well, 50% of it is pure, and then the remainder will probably be made up of a mixture of mechanics and what is called discrete/decision maths, which is closely linked with computer studies, the study of algorithms, etc. So the pure maths and further maths might lead you into fascinating areas such as matrices, which are widely used in computing, complex numbers. If you've ever wondered why your calculator says error when you're trying to solve a quadratic equation, that's because the answer might be imaginary. But in further maths, you'll start to study numbers such as that. And discrete or decision maths allows you to solve problems such as the most efficient way for a salesperson to deliver their goods around a network of towns or houses. So lots of real-life problem solving within decision maths. So loads of reasons why you would study A-level maths, partly because it's really enjoyable, but also because it links in really well with university courses and leads to prestigious degrees, prestigious jobs I should say. At Hazelwick we have a very experienced team of specialist teachers, all of whom have relevant degrees and good subject knowledge and good use of technology. We encourage the use of graphical calculators to help you with your A-levels. And you can see the results from 2019 we've listed there. 2020 was obviously a different scenario, so we haven't detailed those results here. And over to Mrs. Andrews to discuss core maths.
Okay, so we've looked at the A-level and A-level further mathematics courses at Hazelwick, and now I'm going to talk to you about the level 3 core maths course that we also have available, which is much more about developing math skills and knowledge, applying that to problem solving and understanding the world around us. So, let's start by looking at what core maths is. Core Maths is a versatile qualification that's equal in size to an AS level. It is a level 3 qualification, and at Hazelwick we're going to run it for over 1 year in year 12. Okay? Because it's equivalent to an AS level, it will also attract UCAS points for your applications for the future, and it runs for 1 year rather than the 2 that would be for the A level, because it is equivalent to the AS. It's very much about maths of life and the workplace, so it will look really different to the maths you studied previously at GCSE. It's going to support maths in any other courses that you may be taking at level 3, and it's got excellent preparation for university and apprenticeships, and it's something that employers are really valuing the skills that students are learning on the course. I think it's really interesting, engaging course, really relevant to modern day life and the world we're living in. I think there's lots of really interesting, useful things that students learn throughout the course that will help them in their future lives. It's going to be developing the mathematical skills and employability skills that the workplace, employers, universities and apprenticeship providers are looking for. So in terms of career opportunities, I thought it was worth highlighting a few points. Okay, there's a quote from Nicky Morgan, the former Secretary of State for Education, and it says that the subjects that keep young people's options open and unlock the door to all sorts of careers are the STEM subjects: science, technology, engineering and maths. The skills gained from studying these subjects come in useful in almost any job you could care to name, from the creative and beauty industries to architecture. So if you're interested in other areas that maybe traditionally weren't thought about linking to maths, you might want to consider core maths, because there might actually be more that would help and support those career routes and career plans than you might have considered previously. In terms of career opportunities, it's so broad. We've got things to do with engineering, things to do with science and emerging techniques such as DNA sequencing, forensics, astronomy. You might be interested in things to do with programming or financial security, games design. You may also think, actually, I'm interested in things more to do with human interactions and human behaviour. So if you're interested in things like politics or law, sociology, psychology, some of those, or geography, some of those types of subjects, you might not have thought that maths would be supporting that so much, but you might be surprised when you start to do a bit more research that actually all of those subjects would be benefiting from the studies and the things you're learning in core maths. So core maths was launched in Hazelwick at 2018, so we've got an experienced teaching team that have been delivering the course for a number of years now, and this means that they are familiar with the content and how to best prepare students for success in that course. The outcomes that have been achieved to date have been excellent and have opened doors to students to go on to university, apprenticeships and other excellent destinations. From 2023, we felt it was more important to give more students the opportunity to study core maths, and so the entry requirements have been changed so that it's possible now at Hazelwick to study this as a 4th subject in year 12 or as a 3rd subject in year 12. I would direct you towards the school website where the entrance requirements for particular courses in any given year are detailed, and you can check those, what the current requirements are. Okay? So why might you consider studying core maths? I think it's really helpful for you to think about the things that are going to be useful to you as you prepare for the next stage of life. As you're going out into the world as a young adult, what things are going to be helpful preparing you for those next stages? The types of content that we study on the core maths course are going to help you by understanding your finances better, help you understand the world around you, and being critically analytical of data that's presented to you. Why might you be interested in studying core maths? So there's a couple of other quotes here that people are suggesting might be useful about certain courses where students have been unrealistic about the mathematical demands. They hadn't realised that actually there was mathematical demands in those courses, and if they'd studied core maths, they might not have found the same difficulties as they studied their courses. It's going to help deepen and extend your skills and give you meaningful, relevant problem-solving opportunities, better preparing you for university employment and life. So in terms of subjects that really are supported by studying maths or core maths, there's a list here that I've put up. And if you're considering studying any of these subjects and not thinking about doing A-level maths, you might want to consider whether core maths is a good option for you to take. You've got a whole wealth on here, including economics, law, geography, psychology, other subjects that I mentioned previously. And in terms of particular data, there is some overlap between the core maths content and the A-level content. For example, in economics, at least 20% of the course overlaps will support your studies in economics. And I've got some other data on there if you're interested to look. Something I wanted to make students and parents and carers aware of is that there are now a number of universities that are publicly saying that they will give reduced UCAS offers for students that have studied core maths. The list, as of at present, includes Aston, Bath, Essex, Kent, Huddersfield, Manchester, Reading, Sheffield, Surrey and York. These universities see the benefit of students taking the level 3 maths qualification because it thinks it's going to support their studies at university, but also their future career and employment opportunities. There's also a list of prestigious universities that have said they offer strong encouragement for the study of core maths and recognise its usefulness in preparation for degree courses. And this list includes Bristol University, University of Cambridge, Coventry, Keele, Loughborough, Queen Mary and Warwick at time of writing. This data has been provided by the Advanced Maths Support Programme, and there's a link later in the video if you want to look at that data yourself. So in terms of what this means by reduced offers, here's an example from the University of Sheffield. If they offer you a place in a certain course that has a GCSE maths requirement and you're taking a core maths qualification, they're going to be able to offer you an alternative offer equivalent to one A-level grade below the standard entry requirements, subject to you achieving a specific grade in core maths. And I've got some examples here. For example, if you were interested in quantitative social science or architecture, let's say it's architecture, that is a 3 A's standard offer, or 2 A's and a B, subject to achieving at least grade B in core maths. And another example from the University of York, and that is applying to courses that they're offering, such as biology, business and management, history of art, midwifery, music, philosophy, social work. So some courses that perhaps you might not have considered would be linking so much to the study of maths beyond GCSE. Now, these universities wouldn't be saying that they were favourable towards core maths if they didn't see the benefit to students studying it. Okay, so I want to make you aware of that information. So the sort of things you would learn in the core maths course, the content of the course focuses on these 5 key areas in how we deliver it at Hazelwick. It's going to focus on financial maths, which is understanding pay slips, tax, national insurance, pensions, mortgages, credit cards, interest repayments, all of those pieces of financial management that are going to be important as you're going out into the world as a young adult. Okay, and understanding how these financial products work and are calculated is, I think, a really important life skill for anybody to have as they're going out into the world. We do look at some statistics and probability because this relates really clearly to lots of real world examples. For example, looking at statistics around disease modelling, whether a particular medicine is effective and so on. We do look at critical analysis, and this is about understanding data that's presented to us and wondering where has this data been sourced from, how has it been collected, why is it being presented in this way, and what is the person presenting it, what is their motivation? Should we trust the data? And what is it trying to make us think? And as we're provided with more and more information on our news feeds and other sources, it's really important life skill in the modern world to be able to critically analyse information and data. So these lessons are typically very much discussion based and quite different to your GCSE. We do work on spreadsheets and modelling, which again is a really useful skill supporting you in lots of aspects of your future work life. And the last area I've got here is estimation, and these questions tend not to have one particular right answer, but it's about thinking skills and giving some reasoning and understanding the world around you with some sort of common sense figures that you can come up with an answer to possibly some difficult, intangible, at first sight questions. And here are a few examples. So an estimation question might be something like, how much domestic water does the UK require each year? Water companies will need to model that so that they can make sure the infrastructure is in place to provide the water that the population needs. But they're also going to need to think about how to modify that as population and habits change. Here's an example of financial maths, where we've got a newly qualified teacher with a particular salary, starting salary, and we've been told they've got no student loans and they pay a pension of 7.4% of their salary. And the question is, what is the teacher's net monthly income after tax and national insurance contributions? And as the tax brackets change nationally, we update the questions so they're up to date and relevant to whatever the current thresholds are. And this is really useful to be able to understand and apply this to your own pay packet, be that with a part-time job or going forward into the future. Here's another example of using statistics. A genetic disease occurs 1 in every 10,000 people. A test for the disease is 98% accurate. If you are tested and the result is positive, what is the chance you actually got the disease? Okay, so that's a different sort of probability / stats question than you might have seen at GCSE. And the last example I've got on the slide is the speed of cars driving down a road with a speed limit of 50 miles per hour is recorded. The mean speed was 47 and the standard deviation was 5. What percentage of the cars were breaking the speed limit? This is the sort of thing that might be interesting to different stakeholders. If you're at the council and you're considering putting in speed cameras, you might be interested in this so that you could work out how many people you're likely to catch speeding and what the revenue from those speed cameras might be. Or you might be part of a local group of residents who feel that there's speeding problems and they want to look at evidence for traffic calming measures or a different speed limit, okay? So with a little bit of data and a little bit of statistics, we can relate this to something that actually is a real life problem that means something to somebody. So in terms of other sources of information, you might like to look at some of these places to get more details. The UCAS service will help tell you what the university is looking for different grades, for different courses, and the apprenticeship website also will help you understand what might be good for next steps if you're considering apprenticeships. And there are various other sources that might be useful. The AMSP website is the one where I took the data from about the exam entries, the university entries. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope this has been useful. Do come and ask us at the Maths department if you've got any questions on any of the Key Stage 5 maths courses. Thank you.